between 1900 and the introduction of the measles vaccine in 1963 in the United States, measles mortality declined by over 98%. In England, between 1900 and 1968, when it was introduced, it declined by over 99%. Okay. What caused that reduction in mortality? I could tell you what didn't. It wasn't vaccines. They didn't exist. Okay. By the time they introduced the vaccine, there were about 400 deaths a year from measles in the United States at a time when parts of America were still like a developing country, right? Where people will die of all kinds of disease of any kind because they don't have clean water, they don't have, and so forth. Now, so those 400 folks who died was probably going to continue to decline even without a vaccination, as occur with many diseases where they tried to make a vaccine and did it, like scarlet fever and so forth. Okay, they become less pathogenic over time. But let's just assume the vaccine saves 400 lives a year in America, which, by the way, at that point translated to 1 in 450,000 Americans died of measles. 1 in 450,000, far from the killer. Our health department promotes measles as if millions in America died before there was a vaccine. Okay, so 1 in 450,000 people a year at a time when everybody got measles. Now, what's the flip side to that? Well, let me tell you what the studies show. They show that those who don't get measles, okay, this was have a statistically significant increased rate of death from cardiovascular disease and from cancer. Statistically significant. For example, there was a 100,000 person study in Japan that tracked 100,000 people in Japan for over 20 years. Okay, government study, government funded, government involved study. What they found is that after 22 years, those that had measles and mumps had a 20% statistically significant reduction in death from cardiovascular disease. Think about that. 20%. Cardiovascular disease kills 800,000 Americans a year. 800,000. If eliminating measles and mumps, forget 20%, let's say 1%, had a 1% effect, well, you're way past your 400 deaths. You're way past. You've already inverted your public health benefit. Cancers. The studies show that, for example, getting measles reduces, those who have had measles have a reduction of 66% decreased rate of Hodgkin's lymphoma and 166 reduction rate in non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Those kill 20,000, mostly kids, a year. If you've had measles, you have half the rate of ovarian cancer. I didn't do these studies. These are by major institutions around the world. They're all there in PubMed. They're in my book. I cite to them. You can go see them. They're all in peer-reviewed literature. They're done by major institutions. And here's the thing about those studies. Some of them are bigger, like the Japan study. Some of them are smaller and retrospective, like some of the cancer studies, but they're pretty consistent. They all end up showing the same thing. So from a public health perspective, did we have a net benefit?